I'm going to tell you guys a little something about my juvenile activities. First off, I'd like to say that I was not the best kid in the world. Actually, I'd venture to say I was probably one of the worst. First time that I ever got in trouble as a juvenile, I was 10 years old. Unbelievable, right? Had a little problem with this kid in the schoolyard. Some people said that it was a bully situation, but I was too little to be a bully. But I'm pretty sure that me and the kid had a little scuffle. Anyway, I got in trouble for it. The police came to the school and they carried me home to my parents, or my grandparents. I got in a lot of trouble. I got beat for it and all kinds of stuff. Well, I don't know if it was the beating that I got for it or if it was the excitement of just running around doing whatever I wanted to do. That definitely inspired me to do more things that I shouldn't do. One afternoon as a juvenile, me and a couple friends of mine decided that we were going to break into a house. Well, the house was vacant, but we were going to break into the house for whatever reason, I'm not sure. But we did end up going in there, and there was a lot of paint in there and things of that nature. Anyway, so we painted the inside of the house. We broke windows out. We did a lot of damage to that house. We put holes in the walls. Maybe it's just a kid thing, I'm not sure. But whatever it was, we did it. We got in trouble for it. It was my second time being in trouble as a juvenile. I had to go to court for this one. When I did go to court, the judge sent me to the Hanover Learning Center, which is a facility designed to house juvenile delinquents. And I'm pretty sure I was one of those. When I get to this Hanover Learning Center, I don't know exactly what to think about the place. It's not locked up. It's not like a jail. It's cottages that all the guys live in. But you live under rules and regulations, of course. And you do what they tell you to do and when they tell you to do it. Me being the kid that I was and the rebellious type at that time, I didn't care for them people telling me what to do. I was introduced to another guy in there and we became friends. We quickly became friends. He was in the same boat I was. He didn't like people telling him what to do either. So at the time, we were both 12-year-old juvenile delinquents, very rebellious and very stupid, with no concern whatsoever for authoritative figures. Me and my buddy, we got to talking one day, and we decided that we didn't particularly care for this place. We didn't like it here, and we didn't want to stay here. The escape plan took effect. We started talking about how to escape from this juvenile facility. We didn't know where we were going to go. We didn't know what we were going to do, but we knew that we were going to get away from this place. We talked about it, and we decided that the best time to leave this place was early in the morning on the way to breakfast because it was still dark outside. Keep in mind, this place was set up like a college campus. There were buildings, they're called cottages, and there were like 6 cottages there. And then there was one cottage in the very back that was a lockup cottage. And that was for the screw-ups, the people that just didn't want to do right, like me. But there were no fences around this place. It was surrounded by a river and by woods. And if I'm not mistaken, on the other side of the woods were cornfields, man, because we were way out there. Anyway, we decide that we are going to leave. So the morning that we're ready to go, we line up in the chow line for breakfast, get out the door. Everybody's got to stop and be counted. So as soon as they finish counting us, we start walking towards the chow hall. Then there's a truck that goes around the facility with one of the guards in it. And you had to watch out for him too. So the truck was going by while we were moving, and as soon as the truck got out of sight, we were gone. Man, we took off running, man. They couldn't have caught us if they wanted to. We were both really fast. He was taller than me and his legs were longer, so he had to step on me. But I was pretty fast too back then. But we took off running. We ran into the woods, through brambles, got cut up, scratched up, beat up by tree limbs. But we kept running, it seemed like, for hours. But it couldn't have been that long. I don't know how far away we were from the place, but we came to this huge ditch, man. God, I'll never forget it. It was real, like, I don't know how wide, but it was wide. And we had no way to get across it. Well, my buddy says, well, we can jump this ditch. And I'm like, okay. So we gave it a shot. We got back about 20 feet from the ditch and took off running and jumped. My buddy made it most of the way across. His foot got caught in the mud. I made it maybe 3/4 of the way across, and I went knee deep in the mud. Can you imagine that? I'm stuck knee deep in the mud. I can't go nowhere. I can't even get out of the mud. So my buddy gets his foot out and climbs up the bank of this ditch and gets a long tree limb. And I grab hold of this tree limb and he pulls me out of the mud. Once I get out, I climb up the bank and we sat there for about 5 minutes and we rest. And then we hear the dogs. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. It sounded like the hounds of hell coming. I'm tired, my buddy's tired. Neither one of us want to run anymore. It seems like we ran for miles already. But we get up and we take off running again. We run, man, I have no clue how far we run. But all we run into is deeper, thicker, harder to get through woods. It's like there's nowhere to go. Every time you try to go somewhere, you're running into brambles or whatever they're called, the big thick stickers. We were getting kind of messed up in there trying to get through them woods. We were in a jam. The dogs were coming, you could hear them, they were getting closer. I'm getting a little scared now because I don't know what to do. And I don't want to go back to this place. I don't want to get caught for escaping from this place. Me and my buddy got a good idea. Let's climb a tree. We can climb a tree and then the dogs can't find us because they'll lose our scent, right? Of course they will. But we didn't know the scent was going to stop at the tree that we climbed. Come on, man. So we climbed this tree, and we climbed all the way up the tree to the top. And we're sitting up at the top of the tree, resting, trying to get our wind. And here come the dogs with the dog owners that are tracking us down for running. And they're just howling away and running, and they stop at the tree. And they just start, circle the tree, start barking, looking all up in the tree. We were hit. The guys down there, the guards that had the dogs, they didn't know what to do at the time either because we're way up in the tree and they don't know how to get us down. They don't know how to make us come down out of the trees. We were kids, so they're not going to shoot us. One of the guards says, all right, y'all aren't going no farther. Come on down out the tree now. And my buddy looks at him and says, hell no. Call the fire department, come get us. We ain't coming down. I don't know where he got that idea from, but that was hilarious. I couldn't believe it. I started laughing, man. That cracked me up. They sat there and waited us out for probably 20 minutes or so, you know, with the dogs and all, before they started climbing the tree to come get us. These guys started climbing this tree, and they're like, okay, so if we got to climb up this tree to come and get you, you're not going to like the way that you come down. And that kind of worried me too, because I didn't want to fall out of no tree. I started climbing down the tree. Yeah, I gave up. I didn't want to give up, but I didn't see no other option at the time. And we get down there, and the guards that were down there, they had already climbed back to the bottom, to the ground. So we get down to the bottom of the tree, and the guards grabbed us up like we were convicted murderers, and they didn't have handcuffs or stuff like that. They didn't have nothing to lock us up with or anything. They just grabbed us by our arms and by our ears and stuff like we were little kids. I mean, I guess we were, right? They just kind of, you know, come on, get back. What are you doing? You know you're not supposed to run. Anyway, so they got us by our arms, both of us, taking us back, all the way back through the woods to the compound where we came from. except they went around the ditch. I don't know how they did that, man. We might have got away if we could have run around that ditch. When we get back to the compound, we have got to go in front of this guy in this office and tell him why we ran. Why did you run? I mean, I don't know. I don't like it here, I guess. You know, the guy decided that he's going to put us in the lockup building. He said, well, being as you want to run and you don't want to be here, and the judge sentenced you to be here, I'm going to put you in the lockup building for a little while and see how you like that. We went to the lockup building, and once I got in the lockup building, man, I was kind of upset about running, man, because them people in there were kind of crazy. We go to the lockup building, and we get our bunks, and it's kind of funny because once we get our bunks, I get a bunk, and he gets the dude that I ran with, he gets a bunk right over top of me. We get our dinner. They bring our dinner to us. They bring everything to you in the lockup building. You don't go nowhere. So after we eat dinner, we go back to our bunks. And my buddy starts talking a bunch of crap about me giving up and being soft and some more stuff. I'm pretty tolerable most of the time. Maybe even when I was younger, I might have been a little bit tolerable, but probably not. I didn't take too kindly to that. And I remember clearly, I grabbed him in the headlock and started punching him in the top of the head. I just felt like he was doing something wrong. They come and broke that up, and that was over. That was over. You know, my buddy didn't have nothing to say about it. I didn't have nothing else to say about it. And there wasn't any place else that they could put us. They couldn't even separate us because we're both in the same building. So if we're gonna fight, you're gonna fight. I ended up staying in this lockup building. My buddy got out in a month, 30 days, and he was out. I ended up staying in this lockup building for 90 days. And you might ask why? Well, it should be pretty self-explanatory, knowing that I was pretty stupid. I didn't know how to keep my mouth shut. I didn't know what to say when I did open my mouth, or how to say it. At that time, I really didn't know how to keep my hands off of other people. Yeah, that's not a good thing. But it was what it was. Juvenile, hey, man, we got to grow and learn, right? After 90 days, I get what's called a review. They gave me a review, brought me in the little office, and told me that I had done a good job for the past 30 days. I hadn't been in any trouble. I hadn't been in any fights. And that they were going to let me back out in regular population and put me back in my original building that I came out of. And my first thought, soon as he told me that, was I can run again, but I can go a different way this time. But I didn't. I went back out to my regular building, and I finished the little 6-month period of time that I had to do in that juvenile facility, and I went home. During the time I was there in the regular cottage with the rest of the compound, I did learn how to do a few things that helped me out in my future. That's where I started my artwork at. That's where I started drawing. That's why I started learning how to talk to people. I started learning how to be respectful to people. So there were some good changes that took effect there. Not all of them were guaranteed to last, but a lot of them did. So that experience and that part of my life was a really, really big deal for me as far as growing into maturity and learning how to be somewhat of a better person. So that's an experience from my childhood that I'll never forget, kind of locked in my brain. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, man. Hopefully you would enjoy it, maybe see some humor in it, you know, and see the seriousness of the situation as well. And I really want to thank all you guys out there for your participation and for all the love that you show and all the support. APS for life. Peace!